SBC Media.
Welcome to the iGaming Daily Podcast, analysing the news from the betting and gaming industry all over the globe, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the iGaming Daily Podcast. Do you bet on sports? If you're listening to this, chances are that you've probably placed a bet at least once in your life. While I'm not ashamed to admit that I haven't, I know for a fact, based on insider knowledge, that my co-host for today has. You already know him. You've heard his beautiful voice over 1 million times now. James Ross, ladies and gentlemen, Chief of Multimedia Editing here at SBC.
I like that, Chief of Multimedia Editing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a multimedia editor, but I might pitch that Chief of Multimedia Editing to our Managing Director.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome, James. That's your new job role from now on. At least while you are on a podcast with me.
You also said a beautiful voice, but I'm currently suffering with a sore throat thanks to my son is ill. So if you hear me sipping some Lemsip, I apologise.
Is this the reason why you were out the past week? I haven't been really seeing you. How are you doing?
I'm glad to see my leave has gone unnoticed. No, I was on annual leave last week because it was my birthday on Thursday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Celebrating the big 21st.
I already wished you a happy birthday in the group chats, but 21st, are you sure about that? Aren't you a decade late?
I won't say a decade because I'll be 31. No, celebrating my 30th birthday.
All right. How is it? Are you feeling good?
I'm feeling 30. It was nice. So on the Thursday, me and my brother, because we're twins, we celebrated the birthday. We went for a meal with my wife as well. And then on the Friday, me and my wife did the Tolkien Trail. And for the listeners who don't know what that is, it's the trail or the walk that the author of The Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien, did that inspired him to create the Shire in Lord of the Rings.
I didn't know that. Was it a long walk? Sounds like a long walk.
Yeah, so it was just under 6 miles long. Took us about 3 hours. And I thought I was kind of being original by playing like the Shire music throughout the whole walk on my phone.
Oh my God, James. For real?
Yeah, you have to do it. But then we kind of walked past a load of other people doing the same thing, so I just thought...
You're not original. You're not the first one to think about it.
No, I wasn't. So yeah, I did that. And apart from that, my wife bought me my last big birthday gift, so she got me a top-of-the-range PC to do my video game streaming on the side. So Nice. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. Again, happy birthday from me and everyone listening. Thank you.
All right. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you wagered?
It was before the international break. I always like to put a weekend accumulator on the Premier League football. And then sometimes I'll delve into the EFL as well to do a separate accumulator for that as well.
All right. And who was your last bet on?
As in operator or team? Team, okay. Right. So specifically, it's always kind of the Manchester United game, because that's the team that I follow and I watch them. So I always do kind of builder bets or kind of halftime boost or pre-match boosts before then. But like I said, everything else apart from that is kind of accumulators. So it's a variety of different teams to either win, lose, or draw.
All right. And again, your last bet, did you win or did you lose?
So I put 3 builder bets on. One of them came through, 2 didn't. If that's because they were in the same game, it was kind of, you couldn't dignify that as one last one. So 1-1, lost 2.
All right.
If we're just going team specific.
Yeah. I will accept your answer.
It's the only one you're getting.
Okay, so I've already unceremoniously admitted that I'm a newbie to sports betting. So could you lift the curtain a bit for me and briefly walk me through your decision process before placing a bet?
Yeah. So I'll do the accumulator process and then I'll do the request a bet process, because there are 2. The the two distinctive things. So the accumulators, I usually look into the past team's performance, which players are kind of performing well, teams are scoring well, who are conceding the most. Look into where they are placed in the league and compare the two together. But obviously you have to go on performances as well, because a team at the bottom maybe having some decent results or playing well. So that's kind of what I do with the accumulators, and I'm going to spend about a solid hour just going through past fixtures and all the inside data on that one. And then you're quite limited on some of the requester bets or halftime boosts. Halftime boost, I normally use kind of my... I'm going to throw this in now before you actually say what it is. I use my gut instinct in terms of who I think might succeed. Like if, I don't know, Erling Haaland has 3 or more shots on target in the first half, this could be kind of a first half boost. I think that's quite a safe bet if they're playing someone placed 10th or below in the league. And then the requester bets, it's a bit of go with my gut and a bit of research. So I'll tend to do some yellow cards. Who do I know who gets booked all the time? If it's a United game, chances are Bruno Fernandes will get himself in the referee's book more on every match day because he's just complains all the time. I'll look at who's having the most shots, most pot shots, and kind of how many corners we'll concede. If it's if we're playing someone that we should be dominating, I say should because it's Manchester United. I would think, okay, United might get quite a few corners in here, or vice versa. Okay,
you pointed out that you do a bit of research beforehand, regardless of your bet, but you are actually in the minority, because did you know that the average British bettor prefers to bet out of sheer instinct rather than doing proper research beforehand? So you obviously say that you sometimes bet on instinct, but you actually do your research as well. Well, the majority of people do not do that, do not do their research. They actually bet on sheer instinct. This was announced as part of a study by casino affiliate website AskGamblers, which really lived up to its name by asking 1,000 UK gamblers about their go-to strategy when placing a bet. But before we dive into this, a word from our sponsor, which is, you guessed it, Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. New clients can claim a free first month when they join Optimove by heading to www.optimove.com/SBC, or if you're watching this on YouTube, by clicking the link in the description below. So, back to our topic, trusting your gut instinct when wagering. According to the report by AskGamblers, 54% of those surveyed tend to do this, or i.e. the majority, as many studies and papers like to say. As someone who wagers, is this surprising to you?
No, I'd probably say not. I mean, I know a few people who are like me at my friends group. We're quite in-depth when we do bets, but again, I know quite a large majority of people, I'll probably say my father included, who just go on gut instinct or will place a bet, maybe from what they've watched in the past and kind of use their educated guess in that way. But no, yeah, I don't think it's a massive surprise because a large majority of people who do bet tend to just do kind of weekend flutters. Like even when you look at the Grand National, for instance, that gets a large amount of bets each time it's on, but you can't say those people betting are reoccurring bettors. They're not. They're there for the thrill and to embrace themselves in the occasion, which for horse racing and betting, it's kind of the two and two go hand in hand. So I'll probably say not massively surprised.
Yeah, okay. And you said you know a lot of people who do that. Gender-based, are they more female or are they more male?
So from my side, it's more of a male-orientated kind of group.
Okay, so let's do a quick quiz. Generally, when it comes to female-male ratio, who do you think is more likely to wager based on their gut instinct?
I'd probably say I think men would probably wager more on gut instinct than females, because I know quite a lot of females who are really kind of information kind of focused on what they do in anything.
Interesting. Well, according to AskGamblers, it is women.
Okay.
They feel more adventurous with their bets compared to men, with 57% to 53 respectively. Which, you said that women tend to be more look into more information about their bets. Well, I am on the opposite opinion. I think that women betting more on gut instincts sounds more logical to me, as I feel that the majority of fans who tend to follow closely some of the most popular sports for betting. You said horse racing, but the most popular, in my opinion, are basketball and football, are men. So my explanation is that when you religiously watch a sport, you are more likely to have a deep understanding of team performances, season history, player ratings, etc. Whereas if you tune in randomly, you would be more inclined to place a bet based on feedback you've gotten recently. For example, someone has given you an advice who to bet on, or you just like what you're seeing from the team or player at that exact moment. So this is how I feel.
Yeah, I think everything like that is kind of subjective to kind of your own personal experiences. I mean, I know female bettors are females who would bet and they do their due diligence more. But I also think when it actually comes to men, and you've mentioned there that majority of fans, they tend to follow the teams or the sports that they're betting on quite closely. Well, actually, that kind of could lead to more men who do this, or not just men, but more men and women who follow the sports to kind of tune into what they believe they know and kind of go on rational judgment and gut instinct, instead of then actually relying themselves to delve into the data, because they already think to themselves, I follow this sport hand in hand. I'm going to just go with what I know off my gut instinct, instead of let's actually look into the data, instead of just relying on what I think I know because I follow this sport 24/7.
Mm-hmm. And you're right. This might be the case, but the next statistic that I'm gonna quote kind of reflects what I just said about men being the hardcore sports fans versus women being the more casual ones. According to AskGamblers, when it comes to the aftermath of placing a bet based on pure instinct, men are more likely to regret their choice compared to women. So, to me, this confirms that men are more invested in sports than women, at least from the pool of 1,000 people who were surveyed. I don't know if you share my thoughts on that.
I don't know if it backs up your thoughts, but it might actually back up my thinking of this. Like I said, like women might actually, I think, do more due diligence when it comes to betting, so they don't regret their choices because they've followed as much information as they possibly can. The men who bet on gut instinct, they probably regret their choice because they didn't do as much due diligence when it comes to looking at the data that's actually available and kind of coming up with their own conclusions that way, instead of relying on their gut instinct.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's up for debate, really. That is what is interesting about this survey and why we're covering it today. But let's do another quiz. Which sport do you think has the lowest success rate when it comes to placing a bet while trusting your gut instinct?
So
you don't win anything, just to qualify. So don't try too hard.
I'm trying to think too hard about it now. I'd probably go boxing, because there's a lot of odds out there and a lot of different bets you can make within boxing, and obviously it's harder to predict those type of sports.
Well, wrong guess, and you should have known this as a United fan, because as it turns out, it is football, with 64% of those who have done a bet based on their instinct admitting to flying too close to the sun.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, in hindsight, that probably does kind of make sense, because football is one of the biggest sports to kind of bet on in the UK. I think it is the biggest sport. I think it overtook horse racing recently. They've
always been chasing each other, but yeah, you're right. So in terms of volume, yeah, it makes sense. But not a bad guess with boxing. However, despite all of this, I still think that there is light at the end of the tunnel, because a whopping 70% of all the surveyed bettors in the study advise newcomers, such as myself, to first conduct a thorough research before placing a bet, which to me sounds a bit paradoxical, given that the majority apparently doesn't listen to their own advice, don't you think?
They don't. And like we said, this is kind of all on gut instinct, but I think newcomers should probably take that advice, and there's no harm. I mean, I've said it many times, not just in kind of sports betting, but even when I was a writer on slot beats. That's quite a complex thing to get your head around in terms of how a slot works and navigates and kind of what you need to look out for. Doing your research in terms of what volatility means and RTP, again, I'm going on to slots, what symbols pay out the highest pay in, the lowest pay in, the wilds and stuff like that. It does well to kind of enhance the experience and the enjoyability of placing a bet. And that's kind of what we should always remember, that first and foremost, placing a bet should be entertaining, it should be fun, it should be, engaging. So
I agree, and easy to make as well, and not too complicated. But okay, on that note, thank you for joining me for this interesting talk. I hope that you and everyone listening will reflect on the key takeaway from that episode, which is to make sure that your bet is a well-educated choice rather than indulging in instinctive betting. For iGaming Daily, this was Viktor Kayed and James Ross. See you soon in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to today's iGaming Daily podcast, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. If you want to find out more about some of the subjects raised today, feel free to explore any of the sites in the SBC News network or check out the latest edition of the SBC Leaders magazine. Happy reading.